My name is Hannah, and this is my beauty budget. Hey y'all, so I'm finally sitting down to film a relatively comprehensive, I hope, video about the experience of being on the receiving end of PR. My main reason for making this video is that it's a topic about which I get a lot of questions, and my answers to almost every question that I get about PR are too complicated and too long for me to type out in the comment section or to answer as part of another video. So I'm basically making this video as like a reference point so that in the future when I get questions and comments about anything that I'm going to cover in this video, I can just link this video as my answer. I've written out notes and I've actually taken quite a lot of time to try to compile my thoughts clearly. I have a lot of notes. I have like 6 pages of notes here, so fair warning, it's probably going to be a relatively long video, and even if I manage to keep it short-ish, it's definitely going to be a heavy hitter. I'm going to try to explain a lot of things which I think are somewhat complex, and I'm going to try to cover as wide a range of issues as possible. So after the transition to the meat of the video, this is what the meat of the video is going to consist of. First, there's going to be a little introduction, kind of contextualizing and defining PR. Then there's going to be what I think is actually the most interesting part of this video, which is an actual breakdown of the logistic and monetary effect that PR has had on my budget during the first half of 2019. So I have been on a budget for the first half of the year, and I've also been accepting PR for the first time in the history of my channel, which is about 1.5 years old at this point, during the first half of the year, these past 6 months. And I've actually gone through and calculated how many actual dollars the receipt of PR has saved me from spending my budget. And then the third part of the meat of the video is going to be a discussion of the emotional effect of PR. So the second part is the monetary effect, and the third part is kind of the emotional, the internal effect of PR on me specifically, and then also a little bit of discussion of what I think are the potential effects of PR on YouTube and on the beauty community at large. In preparing this video, I've been thinking a lot about the fine line between explaining oneself and being defensive. I don't feel like I have anything to defend, but I do feel like I have a lot to explain, and I feel like a lot of what I want to explain in this video is going to be in response to questions and misconceptions, in many cases, that I've seen floating around in the comment section. Transparency is really important to me, and to be transparent, you have to give a lot of explanations. That said, I'm really hoping that no parts of this video will come off as defensive, even if there are parts of the video in which I'm directly responding to questions or accusations that have been leveled at me. I just want to explain myself. I think that there are some of you out there who really hate PR and really hate seeing me receive PR. And if that's you and you're coming into watching this video determined to hold on to your bad feelings about PR, like if you're coming into watching this video and you really don't have any room in your brain for your mind to be changed, then you are predisposed to be suspicious of my explanations and to be suspicious, honestly, of my transparency. And if that's you, then you will likely see my explanations as being defensiveness rather than transparency. I think in a lot of cases, you're kind of damned if you do and damned if you don't on YouTube when you explain things. I think that the difference between transparency and defensiveness is often actually a matter of perception, which means that it's in your hands rather than in my hands. All I can say is that I have put a lot of thought into my decisions about how I'm running my channel, and that includes my decision to receive some PR. And I have put a lot of work and a lot of thought into the preparation of notes for this video. I know that I can't please all of you, so I'm just doing what is best for me, which is explaining myself as thoroughly as possible. So let's go ahead and get into the meat of the video. All right, section 1 of the meat of the video. I'm going to define PR, contextualize it, talk about what it is, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about the general effect of PR on my budget before I get into the exact monetary breakdown of the effect of PR on my budget. So what is PR? PR stands for public relations. I think a lot of you know that. And I actually found a definition of public relations online. It was like the first definition that came up when I Googled it. Public relations is the practice of deliberately managing the spread of information between an individual or an organization and the public. Now, in the beauty industry, on YouTube, we usually use the phrase PR to mean products. But in this case, in the case of the beauty community, when free products are being sent, those products, that kind of PR, still falls underneath that general definition. The sending of free product is still an attempt by brands to manage the spread of information, right, about their brand. So publicity, name recognition, etc. They're trying to influence the spread of information about their brand by sending free product, hence PR, public relations. Since the dawn of time, since the dawn of brands that create products, brands have been giving away free product to people who work in the industry that discusses that product in an attempt to get free media coverage. Because for a brand, free media coverage is worth a lot more than a bunch of product that they have that they can then send. It's just way, way worth it for them to send out stuff that hasn't been paid for as a bid for publicity, even if there's no guarantee about the nature or the amount of that publicity. Media coverage is so powerful and it's so important, so valuable to brands that it's worth it for them. So that's why PR happens. And that is why, and this is kind of my main first point of this first part of the meat of the video, free beauty products are a perk of working in the beauty industry. And in every merchandise-related profession, people who sign on to work in that profession, who spend a significant amount of their work hours working at a job inside that profession, receive free samples of the merchandise. So Sephora employees receive gratis makeup products and skincare products. People who work at Vogue are always snagging like free handbags and jackets that are floating around from the Vogue closet. Fashion models receive garments, sometimes in addition to their pay, sometimes as their pay. Waiters receive free meals, bartenders receive free drinks, chocolatiers are dripping in free chocolate and are always giving it away to their friends. If you work in a field that involves product in any way, it is normal for you to be on the receiving end of some free product. Now, I think, and maybe you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, if you have bad feelings about PR, because I'm kind of guessing, I as a YouTube viewer never had bad feelings about PR. So it might be hard for me to fully extrapolate or to empathize. But I think my impression is that some YouTube viewers have a hard time with it because they don't like thinking of the people that they watch on YouTube as being people who work in the beauty industry. Because part of the allure of YouTube is that it feels like you're talking to a real person. And I mean, it doesn't just feel like it, I am a real person. I also love the relatability and the realness of a lot of the people that I watch on YouTube. For example, Samantha March. One of the reasons I love watching her is that she's so real. But she also works in the beauty industry. In fact, she works way further into the beauty industry than I do. So in that way, we're not the same. And so I can't fully relate to her. So we're not exactly the same. Like I don't have that pure relatability to that part of her. But the realness is still, in my opinion, real. So I totally get that. But I think that part of the appeal and part of the power of having real people just like you reviewing beauty products on YouTube is that it feels like they are not connected to the beauty industry. So we develop, or at least maybe in the past, I think maybe the scales have fallen from our eyes a little bit at this point, but I think that in the kind of golden age of the beginning of YouTube, there developed this impression that the people who were on the other side of the camera, the people making the videos, weren't really part of the beauty industry. But we are. YouTube is a huge part of the beauty industry. One of the things that I love about doing this work is that because I'm running my own channel and it's just me, I'm able to be as real and as honest with you guys as I possibly can. I really value that aspect of YouTube, not just as a viewer, but as a creator. I love that it's about realness because that's how I want to be in my life. Now, I don't consider YouTube to be my job, or definitely not to be my main job, because I don't make enough money on YouTube for it to come anywhere close to paying my bills. I feel a little bit funny about like reporting exact numbers, but I decided that I'm really comfortable with telling you guys that my AdSense revenue right now for YouTube monthly wouldn't even cover a third of our rent. That's just our rent in a one-room, a studio apartment in downtown LA. So I know that different apartments cost different amounts, and it's not actually really about the exact dollar amount. It's about the dollar amount related to the expenses of living my life. So I'm not making enough money on YouTube to live, and I have a different job that pays my bills, but I am definitely working on YouTube. I mean, I am up here working my ass off. That's why you guys have videos to watch from me. And when I say I'm up here working my ass off, when I say up here, what I mean is the place that I'm referring to, the here that I'm referring to, is in the beauty industry. It just is. I have a relatively uncommon perspective, I think, for a lot of people who are working in the beauty industry, but my channel has always been about the relationship between the powerful love of beauty and the beauty industry. All of my projects on my channel have always been about the beauty industry. It's basically the main topic of my work here. So I'm working and I'm in the beauty industry, and therefore it's natural and fair that I would be on the receiving end of some free beauty products. It's as natural as a waiter eating a shift meal in a restaurant. I feel like the thing I'm about to say could come off as kind of snarky, but I actually don't mean it that way. I really want to speak to you right now if you're somebody who has a hard time with PR because it feels really unfair to you, because it's something that you yourself would love to have, free beauty products. If that's something that you would love to have in your life, if you know yourself and you know that it would really bring you so much joy to receive free beauty products, and you have a hard time seeing YouTubers receive it simply because they're getting it and you're not, and you know how much you would love that, I have a simple solution for you. Get a job in the beauty industry. Pursue this field, because if it means that much to you, if you love it so much that it's hard for you to watch other people getting it, then go for it. Go for your dream. Get a job or build a platform or do something to make yourself part of this industry, because receiving free products is a natural perk of this industry. So it's not like the haves and the have-nots. It's just the way of the world. And you can use that to your advantage if it's something that would mean a lot to you. So before I move on to talking about the relationship between PR and my budget, I do want to just touch briefly on the question of relatability. I want to clear the decks about relatability, because I have seen more than one comment saying that the problem with me receiving PR on my channel is that it makes me less relatable. So here's what I always wish that I could say to that I could respond to that, but that I never have time to do because it would just be ridiculous to type out a comment this long. I am a tango dancer. I'm a tango teacher. I am a seamstress running a small business. I'm living hand to mouth in a huge city. I'm Quaker. I'm a writer. I have a master's degree in poetry. And I run a YouTube channel, which is a huge and insane and life-transforming project. And I sometimes receive free makeup from brands and from friends. I have a weird life, and I don't expect it to be relatable. It wouldn't make sense for me to stifle my growth or my opportunities, or to lie about the reality of my life as it is and as it evolves because of YouTube, in order to appear more relatable to each of 20,000 people, which is impossible even if I were to try, right? You can't be relatable to 22,000 people because everyone is different and everyone's context is different. It's also not really fair to ask me not to receive the perks of the work that I'm doing in order to appear more relatable or to be more relatable to people who haven't done any of that same work, who aren't doing the same work that I'm doing. My hopes with this channel My simple hope with this channel is that my introspection, even though my life is weird and your life is weird and all of our weird lives are weird, my hope is that my introspection and my dedication to putting my experience into words and my attempts to curb my shopping addiction, which is real, and which is not helped by PR, despite what you might think, and I'll cover that towards the end of the video. My hope is that by doing all of that, I might be creating content that is entertaining and or useful to some people. That is all that I can offer. I think that attempting to be relatable in any way beyond that, beyond what I just described, would be a fool's errand. I am who I am, what can I say? And I am living a very weird and evolving life. So I am continuing to be honest about it, and it's just, it gets ever weirder, you guys. And that's all. That I'm not, Okay, let's talk about the relationship between my budget and PR. I sometimes get comments to the effect that budgeting is probably super easy for me because I receive PR, or comments from people who seem to think that my budget isn't meaningful to me, or who say that watching me budget isn't really meaningful to you because I'm also receiving PR. So it's that kind of mindset, or is that kind of comment or question that I want to address right now. I've tried to show this, and I feel like talking about my budget every month and the things that I decided to buy and the things I decided not to buy is illustrating this, but just for the sake of it, just to be totally clear and transparent, I'm going to say it right now. In the context of my life, even though that's a context where I sometimes get PR, I have found budgeting to be super meaningful and super effective at curbing my compulsive shopping. And part of why I want to say that is because it's working so well, and I want to spread the gospel. I'm like, budgeting, you guys, a clear, strict budget that you don't break, it has been life transforming for me. Every month, I have a huge, long list of makeup, skincare, home things, and clothing is a big one for me. I have a huge, long list every month of beautiful things that I want to buy. And if I had never done a no-buy, and if I weren't on a budget, every month, I would buy most of them. I know that that's what I would be doing because that's how I used to behave. That's what I did do before my no-buy year. Now, with my self-imposed constraints in the wake of my no-buy year, every month I can't buy most of them. I have to pick and choose and decide very carefully and only buy a few of them. And if I run out of my budget, I have to stop shopping entirely. And even if there are replacements that I need to buy, necessities, if I've run out of my budget for the month, I have to wait until the following month before I can buy them. Those are my rules, and that's what I'm doing. That's intense, and it's real. And getting PR barely makes a dent in that process, because of that whole long list of things that are constantly on my wish list, none of them are being sent to me in PR. And getting a random face cream in the mail from a random brand doesn't make me want to buy a sweater from Aritzia any less. Remember, my budget covers all makeup, all skincare, all clothing, all of those things. Any of those things in any of those categories that I might want to acquire has to be covered by my budget. And I have really specific tastes. I think with one possible exception that I will discuss in a little bit, literally everything that I've wanted to buy this year with my budget has not been available to me as PR. Let me rephrase it sort of as a scenario, which will maybe make it easier to understand or easier to reference. So let's say that you're on a really strict budget, and let's say that this month you have 3 things that you really, really want to buy that you've been lusting after, 3 things that have gripped your soul. So let's say one of them is a bright red lipstick from Charlotte Tilbury, for example. One of them is like a fluffy pink sweater from Zara. And one of them is a set of linen dish towels from Etsy. 3 things that I would quite like to buy. But say you're eyeing these 3 things, and within the constraints of your budget, you can only afford to buy one of them. So you're sitting there, you're budgeting, you're trying to decide which one you're going to spend your money on, you're going back and forth. And then say that I come along and give you for free a box full of nude colored Maybelline lipsticks and a pixie setting spray. Would that make your budgeting decision any easier? Would that make your budget, your monthly budget that month, any less meaningful? Would it take away your compulsive desire to buy all three of those things? Would it lessen the importance of your willpower when you stuck to your guns and didn't break your budget and only chose one thing and only bought the pink fluffy sweater and didn't buy the lipstick and didn't buy the dish towels? No, bitch. No, it wouldn't. What I get in PR are things that I don't want to buy, but that I'm excited and grateful to be able to try for free. And the only area of my budget that is in any way affected by that is the area of certain staple skincare items and certain staple body care items like body wash and shampoo, for example. So that brings us to part 2 of the meat of the video, in which I am going to share with you the full breakdown, all of my calculations about how much actual money I have saved this year because of agreeing to receive PR products. All right, I'm really excited about this part of the video. You guys know that I'm not a math lover. I'm not a very precise person when it comes to adding up numbers, but I do love being able to kind of take the measure of general trends in my life. So this kind of project where I'm keeping track and adding things up is really interesting to me. So I basically went through my staple skincare items, the things that I know that I repurchase, that I depend on, staple makeup items, and staple body care items. And I thought about and I recalled whether any of them have been replaced by PR products and therefore saved me from having to purchase the thing that I would have otherwise purchased. And if any of them did, because some of them did, in some cases I've been saved from having to buy something because of PR, I figured out what I would have bought and how many times I would have had to buy it. And then I added up all those numbers together, and that's how much PR has technically saved me. Because I've received a lot of things in PR that I wouldn't have actually bought. So just because I received a $50 cleansing oil doesn't mean that I saved $50, because I would never have purchased a $50 cleansing oil. What I saved was the amount that I would have spent on cleansing oil, which I actually think is the first example. So we'll just get to going right through it, and you guys will understand as it unfolds the way that I've kept track of everything. So starting with skincare, my micellar water. I haven't received any micellar water in PR. The one I'm using is from Yes to Coconuts, and I bought it myself at the CVS near my workplace. The oil cleanser that I'm using. I have definitely saved money on oil cleanser because of receiving PR, because I have requested an oil cleanser from Octoly twice. So that means that I would have had to purchase oil cleanser at least twice. And I tried to be kind of generous with this. Like, I tried to round up in every case. And the other thing is that I'm including gifts. I'm including subscriber gifts and gifts from friends, not actually from friends in my real life, because I feel like I've been receiving gifts from friends in my real life my whole life and it has nothing to do with my YouTube channel. But I generously included the effect of subscriber gifts on my budget as well as PR. So this isn't only PR, it's just the fact that I receive anything, any perk as a result of being on YouTube. If I didn't include subscriber gifts, then the amount of money that I've saved would actually be a lot lower. Anyway, I am guessing that I would have had to purchase an oil cleanser twice since the beginning of the year if I hadn't received oil cleanser in PR. And I would have purchased the Simple Cleansing Oil. That's my favorite cleansing oil to buy. And it's still available on Amazon, so I would have purchased it there. When I made this list, it was $8.50. So I'm calculating that I've saved $17 in oil cleanser by receiving PR. My second cleanser. I have received a number of second cleansers in PR and I've experimented with them, but I haven't really used very much, physically very much cleanser that has come in PR. So the one that I'm consistently using is my Mario Badescu Glycolic Foaming Cleanser. I had a bottle of that at the beginning of the year, and then I used it consistently until it ran out, and then I immediately repurchased it and started using it again. So even though intermittently I've tried out some PR second cleanses, none of them have had a measurable impact on my actual cleansing life. Like I haven't used them enough to claim that I've saved any money. My vitamin C serum, I'm using the one from Maylove right now. I bought it myself, and that was as a replacement for one from Timeless that I also bought myself. My acid toner is the Lotion P50. I bought that myself. My first treatment essence is the one from CosRX, and I bought that myself. My hydrating essence that I use almost every day is the Hada Labu Gokugen lotion. I bought that myself. And now we come to the category of all-purpose face oil. I have received a lot of all-purpose face oils in PR, so this is definitely a category in which I have been saved from having to buy myself an all-purpose face oil because of the PR I've gotten. Face oils seem to be just all the rage right now, given how many I've been sent or been given. So if I had never received any of the all-purpose face oils that I'm currently using, I would have purchased one bottle of marula oil from The Ordinary to be my all-purpose face oil. And I've had a bottle of marula oil from The Ordinary in the past. They last me a pretty long time. I would say I use maybe 4 to 5 drops once or twice a day. I think I would still be working on that one bottle that I had purchased. So that means that I've saved $10, the $10 that I would have spent on that one bottle of all-purpose face oil by receiving a bunch of all-purpose face oils in PR. The next category I have put separate from all-purpose face oil is the salicylic acid treatment, because the salicylic acid treatment that I'm using right now is an oil. It's the UFO oil, and it was a gift from my subscriber and friend, Wendy. So I love the UFO oil. That's why she gave it to me. She had tried it. It didn't work out for her. She gave me the bottle that she had decided to stop using. And I am glad to have that bottle, but I don't think I'm going to purchase it again when that bottle runs out. And in fact, when my old bottle ran out, when it was running out, and before Wendy had given me this new one, I was already researching options. I was already planning not to repurchase it. So I don't think I would have sprung for that product if it hadn't been given to me, but I would have gone and purchased specifically a salicylic acid ingredient. I mean, not ingredient, but product to fill that role. And I'm pretty sure, I hadn't totally decided at the time, but I had pretty much decided to try the salicylic acid solution from The Ordinary. So that's $5.30. So I saved, I believe, $5.30 by receiving the bottle of UFO oil from Wendy instead of buying the one from The Ordinary myself. The next category is retexturizing night treatment. I'm always using a retexturizing night treatment of some kind every couple of days. So I had a bottle of Good Genes that I received from a friend in my regular life, not a subscriber, just someone who I would have known anyway, and she would have given it to me anyway, even if I didn't have a YouTube channel. I also have an azelaic acid. I have a tube of azelaic acid cream from The Ordinary that I purchased with a gift certificate that was sent to me by a subscriber, a Sephora gift certificate. But if I hadn't received that gift certificate, I wouldn't have purchased the azelaic acid. I would be living without it. So it's not something, it didn't save me money to receive it. It was just a perk. It was just something that I bought because I had a gift certificate. It's not something that I was going to have to buy anyway. So I don't think that PR has saved me any money in the realm of retexturizing night treatment. Night cream definitely saved money here. I'm currently using a few random moisturizers that were all sent to me in PR, and that has prevented me from having to repurchase a layering night cream. But if I had to repurchase one, if I had to buy my own, I would have bought the cactus cream, which weirdly is something I only know about because I've received it in PR. But now that I know about it, it's the one I would be purchasing. I don't think that I need to go so far as to guess which one I would purchase if I hadn't ever found out about that one, because that's not really what this video is about. Although I know which one it would be. It would be the one from CeraVe. But at this point, I would buy the one from La Turgeau. That's what it's called, the cactus cream. And I think it's hovering around $9 right now on Amazon. So receiving some random night creams and using them up instead of buying my own has at this point saved me $9. And that's taking for granted that that one bottle from La Turgeau would have lasted me for a couple of months, which I feel confident that it would have because I had one bottle and it did last me for several months. Sunscreen. I've definitely saved the $30 that Erin refunded me when I tried to purchase the small bottle, the travel size bottle of Erin's Faces sunscreen. So a couple of months, last month, I think, I went to repurchase my sunscreen. I bought it, and then Erin emailed me and she was like, we'd like to comp you on this and send you a couple of PR products. So that sunscreen ended up being PR, which means that I got refunded $30. I saved $30 of my budget that I would otherwise have had to spend on that little bottle of sunscreen. I have a note here that says I have other skincare products that I've gotten in PR that I love and that I enjoy using. Like, for example, the glycolic mask by Eve Lom that I got through Octoly. So there are other skincare products floating around. You've heard me talking about them, but there aren't any that I would have bought or any that are holding a place that I would have had to fill by buying something if I hadn't received them in PR. They're all extra. And you might be starting to catch on to the trend, but the vast majority of stuff that I receive in PR is extra, extraneous to the stuff that I would have, that I would be buying if I weren't receiving anything. So adding that all up, overall PR has saved me about $71 in money that I would have spent on staple skincare items with my budget. All right, moving on to makeup. Starting with primer. Almost all of my current primers came in PR. Primer is another area in which I've just been flooded with PR. So I wrote here that if I didn't have any PR, I would definitely have used up all of my primer by now and I would have to replace it. And I thought for a while about what I would have done. I had to really think about it because I had last year decided to totally switch to drugstore primers, but I haven't experimented with drugstore primers enough to know which ones I would have purchased. So I'm guessing that I would have done a bunch of research and I would have gone out and I would have purchased a drugstore primer. But knowing myself and knowing my primer preferences and knowing that it's been 6 whole months, I'm guessing that I would have at this point purchased 2. I think I probably would have purchased a sort of illuminating glotion type of thing from the drugstore. And I think I would have also purchased maybe like a green color correcting or pore filling primer of some kind. I would have probably not been able to stop at one. So I'm being generous in saying that I would have spent something like $25 experimenting with primer, with drugstore primer, if I hadn't received any of them in PR. So PR has saved me $25 in primer money, but there is no other base makeup that I've received in PR that's standing in for something I would have bought. I have received some really nice base products in PR, but it's all candy. It's all extra. For example, the YSL Touche Éclat and the YSL Touche Éclat Full Coverage Concealer. I love those products. I use them all the time. I'm wearing the Touche Éclat product right now on my face, but they're extra to what I would have spent my money on if I hadn't been receiving PR. They're just treats. They're perks. I did spend my own money on concealer this year, so I know that I wouldn't have had to go out and buy another one. I mean, I did. I did have to go out and buy a concealer, and I did do that. So even though I have some that I'm using that I got in PR, I haven't been using them for so long and I haven't used them enough to the point that they saved me money in the first 6 months of the year. In color cosmetics, however, there are a few things. There's the one heavy hitter, which is the Kevyn Aucoin Neo Highlighter in Sahara that I use as a bronzer. I had that product. I had almost completely panned it at the end of last year, and I said on my channel, when I'm finished with this product, when I can no longer use it, I'm going to buy it with my budget. So I was planning to buy it. It's $58, and I had made peace with that. I still feel peace about that. Like if someone took away my Kevyn Aucoin Neo Highlighter tomorrow, I would go and spend a quarter of one of my month's budgets on it. It's definitely worth it to me. And I would definitely have bought it with my budget in the first half of the year if it hadn't shown up in my Octoly free store. So I can say without a shadow of a doubt that being on the receiving end of PR saved me $58 that I would have spent on the Kevyn Aucoin Neo Highlighter. The other color cosmetics that have been saved from buying by PR are mascara. I'm sure that what I would have done is gone out and bought the Lash Paradise in black again. That would have been $7, so I was saved from spending that $7. And I would have had to buy a black eyeliner. If you saw my recent reckoning, you saw that I received a black eyeliner in PR just in the nick of time from the brand Joa. I think that I would have ended up buying the one from Rimmel, which costs about $4. So I saved $7 in mascara money and $4 in eyeliner money. Setting spray. And setting spray is another thing that I'm sort of swimming in because of PR. I have half a bottle left. I'm going to show it to you. So at the beginning of the year, I had no setting spray, and I purchased a smaller bottle of the Pixie one. I used it all the way up. Then I purchased this large size bottle of the Pixie Glow Mist, and I started using it. And then I started getting a bunch of setting sprays in PR. So I've used almost half of this, and I'm not totally sure, but I'm going to go out on a limb, again, sort of rounding up, and say that if I hadn't received any setting sprays in PR, I would have already panned this and I would have had to buy a new setting spray. And I know what I would have done. I would have gone and bought the smaller bottle of the Rose setting mist from Pixi, because I liked the Rose one a lot better than I like the original Glow Mist. So I feel like I've been saved the $15 that the Rose Pixi setting spray would have cost me because of receiving some setting sprays in PR. So we're adding $15 more to the list. And then that's it for color cosmetics. Sorry about the noise. I did write a note here to sort of say that when thinking about eyeshadow, I have received some eyeshadow in PR, and I've definitely received a good amount of eyeshadow as gifts. I've only received a little bit of PR eyeshadow, actually. It's not like I'm on the PR list of brands like Urban Decay and Too Faced where like sending out palettes. It's not like that over here. I thought long and hard about the question of whether I might have broken down and purchased eyeshadow earlier in the year just to have some new eyeshadow if I had not received any eyeshadow in PR or any gifted eyeshadow after Christmas, because I received a palette as a gift at Christmas, but this for my sister, like that's just normal life, right? But I think the answer is no. I think the answer is no. I did break down and buy eyeshadow recently for the first time since my no-buy year, and I think that that's authentic to how long it would have taken me to decide to actually buy some eyeshadow. Maybe give or take like a month or so. But I think that I wouldn't have wanted to buy eyeshadow because I had so much already at the beginning of the year. I mean, I have a lot of eyeshadow now, but I had a lot of eyeshadow then. I've decluttered some. It's not like I had a tiny collection that has only become lush and delicious and something that I can relax into because of PR and gifts. It's not that way at all. I already had an extremely robust eyeshadow collection at the beginning of the year, and I came into this budget year so determined to relish what I have and to sit with what I have that I think I would have continued to do that. I also can't know for sure, and it may be that if you were in my position, you would behave differently than how I would behave. But internally, I've struggled. Whenever I've received eyeshadow this year, I've been like, I love eyeshadow, but really, like, I really haven't felt like I needed or wanted any new eyeshadow. And that's not because I've been receiving it at PR. That's a way that I felt when I received it in PR. I was always like, okay, but this isn't really what I want for my life, right? I've been kind of like reckoning with it. But I'm going to discuss that stuff, the emotional effect of receiving PR, later in the video. I want to get through the body care part of what PR has saved me. But I did just want to touch on that because I know that this is the moment in the video when it's going to come up for many of you, when you're going to be like, but how can you be sure that you wouldn't have bought color cosmetics that you didn't buy just because getting them in PR was making you feel like you didn't need something new, right? And I have considered that. I've thought a lot about it, and I actually feel pretty confident that I would have purchased all the same things with my budget that I purchased when it comes to color cosmetics, and that I would have been okay not purchasing all of the same things that I didn't purchase, regardless of PR. So in makeup overall, PR has saved me $109. That is majority due to the Kevyn Aucoin Neo Highlighter, which I was really, really lucky to find in my Actually Free store. So in other realms, the only thing that I can think of is body wash. I'm pretty sure that at this point, I haven't actually crossed the point where PR has saved me any money on shampoo, or gifts have saved me any money on shampoo. I think that maybe by the end of the year, PR will have extended the time that I had without having to buy shampoo by a couple of months. But at this point, I don't think I've crossed that line yet. So I'm not counting it on this list because I'm looking at the first half of the year. Other hair care, I do have a texture spray that was sent to me by Jen, who also has a YouTube channel, but I'm also using a texture spray that I bought myself, and I have a backup of that texture spray that was given to me by a friend, again, an in real life friend. So again, like at this point, even without that texture spray that I received as a gift, I'm using one that I bought. Like I still have paid for that category myself, and that would still be the case. However, if I hadn't received some body washing products in PR, I would have had to buy my own at this point. And I think that I'm not sure what I would have done. I think I probably would have done what I did the other times, which was to buy a big bottle of Lush body wash. I've kind of gone back and forth with Lush. I think that's probably what I would have done. I would have bought like the jumbo size of one of their body washes, and I would just be chipping away at it. That's what I did last year, and I enjoyed it. So those jumbo bottles of Lush body wash they vary in price depending on the scent, but they kind of hover around $30. So I'm guessing that by receiving some body washes in PR, I've saved $30 this year. So adding it all up, I've saved $71 in the realm of skincare this year by receiving PR. I've saved $109 in the realm of makeup by receiving PR. And I've saved $30 in the other category, or what is for me like the body care, body wash category. So the total saved by PR for me this year so far is $210. That breaks down to $35 a month. So that means that during the first half of this year, I had $35 to spend every month more than I would have had if I wasn't working in the beauty industry. So if you want to kind of adjust the way that you think about my budget, or the way that you think about the amount that I'm allowing myself to spend, and sort of think about it through your eyes or in your context, if you're someone who doesn't receive any kind of free beauty products in your life, then just add $35. So when I say my budget is $200 a month, you can think to yourself $235, because that's essentially what I've had. Or another way to think of it is it's like an extra month. So I've been able to spend 7 months of budget in 6 months. I've sort of had an extra month floating out there, an extra month of cushion that's come from PR. This might change as the months go on. I don't know what's going to happen in the rest of the year. I don't know what's going to happen to my channel. I don't know what kind of PR I'll be agreeing to receive or receiving. And I also am not totally sure yet if I'm going to change any of my channel policies. I think I am going to change some of my channel policies pretty significantly, and I'll be making a video about that soon. But so far, in the past 6 months, this has been pretty much the measure of the thing. So interesting. I'm so glad that I calculated that, because I don't know, I'm not even sure if it's more or less than I expected it to be. I myself know that there is rarely a moment when I'm like, oh, I'm so glad I don't have to buy this because I got it in PR. I mean, I know that that almost never happens because I'm the one experiencing my life. I know that 95% of the stuff well, I can't say 95% because I haven't really like looked at how much I've gotten, how many items, and how many of them have actually been useful as opposed to just extra. But I know that most of the time when I open a PR package, I'm like, oh, fun, cool, great. It'll be good to test this and report back to it on to my subscribers on my channel. It's very rare that I open a PR product and do what I did when I opened the one from Joa the other day. And like, yes, a black eyeliner. I desperately needed this. I'm so glad I got this. Now I don't have to buy it. That almost never happens. But that's probably not true for much bigger channels. Even channels that are a little bit bigger than mine, I'm sure that that's not true. I think that in the grand scheme of things, I don't receive all that much PR, partly because I say no to a lot of companies. A lot of companies want to send me stuff, and I'm like, no, thank you. And also because I think the bent of my channel, I think some companies watch my channel and they're like, no way, no how are we sending you our product, because you're going to be brutally honest about it, and you're also going to tell your subscribers, even if you love it, that they shouldn't buy it if they can't afford it. So I think that I'm a bit hamstrung as a channel when it comes to PR for those reasons, which is fine with me because I really don't need to be receiving all that much more stuff than I am right now. I really don't. I mean, I don't need almost any of what I'm being sent right now. All right, so that was section 2 of the meat of what is turning out to be an incredibly long video, I'm sure. If you're still here, thank you. Because the third part is actually, it's almost like the stickiest and gooeyest. Maybe I'll timestamp down below so people can skip ahead to this part if they're really interested in it. I think it's going to be really interesting. In this part, I'm basically going to talk about the pros and the cons of being on the receiving end of PR for me, kind of how it affects my life in a messier way than like the numbers show. And I'm also going to just talk a little bit about my feelings about PR and the effect that it's maybe having on you and the effect that it's having on the beauty community in general towards the end of this section. Just some things I've been thinking about lately because I've been compiling notes for this video and because I'm now watching YouTube from the point of view of someone who also creates videos and who receives a little bit of PR. So to summarize, the vast majority of what I'm receiving in PR doesn't actually save me any money, because the things that I'm receiving aren't things that I would be buying or things that I would be buying similar stuff of, grammar, sorry, but you get what I'm saying, if I weren't receiving them in PR. Basically, the main benefit for me of PR is not financial. So what is the main benefit? Like, why is it good? And I think that most creators in this moment, in asked this question, would say that the benefit is that they get to review things on their channel, that it creates content for their channel. I've heard people say this a lot, that, you know, they're able to get something early and be one of the first people who has the review out on YouTube, blah, blah, blah. That's not me. That's not my channel. That's not my style. I mean, I'm inclined to like review a thing that came out last year. I actually just don't think about that stuff. I don't think about like being the first one to get the review out there, blah, blah, blah. And so that's not the thing that PR does for me. That's not the benefit. The main benefit is just that it brings me joy. I am a person, as we all know, with a deep, what feels like a genetic level of appreciation for beautiful things. That's what got me into this mess in the first place. So to be receiving beautiful things for free in the mail occasionally, makeup, skincare, jewelry, the exact kind of beautiful things that I love the most, is amazing. It's surreal in its level of amazing, and it brings so much joy to my life. Did I just say it's surreal in its level of amazing? I guess we can just go with that. You guys get what I'm saying. It's amazing, and I'm so grateful. And that gratitude and that joy it's pure. There are things about PR with which I struggle, but the joy that it brings is undeniable. There are some things that I've received in PR, like this ring, for example. I keep touching it because when I think about the PR that has brought me the most joy, it kind of springs to mind. It's shaped by like a semicolon. Look at that. It's like an abstract semicolon. Can you even live? Like, it's the most gorgeous thing. And it was sent to me by a brand, a jewelry brand, Carolina Altori Jewelry. I'll link her below. She's also a subscriber. She watches my channel, and she reached out and was like, do you want some jewelry? She sent this to me and some gorgeous earrings. I wear this ring every day, and I mean, it means so much to me because it is a token of my connection with my subscribers, with you guys. It is a token of you understanding me, because to me, a semicolon ring is like my soul. Like, it's everything to me. It's so perfect. It's so aesthetically pleasing. It's so me. It represents my work, and it represents my love of beautiful things. I feel pure joy about it just because I love beautiful things so much. It's just like pure love. And that's great. That is so good and so great in my life. And that to me is way, way better than anything that has to do with being able to get the first review out or being able to grow my channel or anything like that. I just feel like I've worked really hard. I've done my no by year. I'm working really hard on my budget, and being able to play with new makeup occasionally and to be able to receive such beautiful things from time to time is a very special kind of reward for that work. And I feel simultaneously lucky and also just lucky that my life path and the work that I've done and the stairs that I've been climbing have brought me to this reality. However, the best thing about free stuff is also the worst thing about free stuff, which is that I love it so much. And it makes it hard. I'm going to try to talk about this briefly, because talk about unrelatable, like, this is a thing that's not relatable to you if you don't receive free stuff. It makes it hard to take a break from the experience of having new stuff arrive. And one of the things that has been the most life-changing for me ever was last year when I took a year-long break from having new stuff arrive. Taking a break from having new stuff arrive in my life was the medicine that I needed to help reorient myself, to get myself back on the right track, to change my brain. It was the fix. And I took the pill, I did it, and it was amazing. Ironically, now I can't take that pill even if I wanted to, unless I were to completely stop receiving PR completely. I mean, if I were to just like close the doors and be like, no, which I'm not at the point where I feel like I need to do that. You know, I don't need the pill badly enough to cut off the source of something that is genuinely bringing me so much joy. But the trade-off is that I can't stop getting new things, even though I know that that's a thing that really, really helps and heals me when I'm struggling with the worst of the desire to buy stuff. What I can do is I can stop buying stuff, and that does help a lot, because getting stuff for free and actually buying stuff is really not the same. So I feel like my true problem, my struggle, is with shopping. That's the thing that was compulsive for me. Getting new stuff is kind of an equal and opposite, kind of like a side effect that goes along with it. It's part of it, but it's not the whole thing. So the most important kind of pill that I can take is to stop shopping. And I have done that intermittently. I've either spent my whole budget and then had to go on a no-buy, or I've gone on sort of a relaxed 2 or 3 week no-buy here and there and just not spent any of my budget. And that has really helped me. That kind of stopping has really helped me. But I can't stop sometimes getting a package in the mail of something that I didn't buy, and then the excitement and the dopamine that releases when that happens. And as we've discussed before, getting new stuff and having those chemicals all fire, all that does is just make you want more stuff. It doesn't satisfy the desire. It doesn't satisfy the desire to shop. It doesn't dampen the desire for new things. It only fuels it. So I'm in this funny situation where, in order to keep hold of the new Hannah, the new mindset that my no-buy year has engendered, in order to make sure that the values of the no-buy year get cemented into my life and into my brain and body chemistry, I'm having to battle a little bit with the effects of PR. And again, I know that that's sort of it's private to me. Like it's not really something that I think many of you guys are having to do. So I'm not going to keep going on about it, but there is a little bit of a personal dark side for me. And that's what it is. The other thing about PR, and I just find this all so interesting. You guys, I find it so interesting. This is something I've noticed pretty recently. The other thing about PR is that when you receive a thing for free, it lessens the perceived value of that thing. It just does. You just don't feel like a thing is as valuable if you receive it for free as you feel like it is when you spend your own money on it. Now, I feel like this is both a good and a bad thing. And the way in which it's a good thing, I'm trying to really, really harness and pay close attention to and mobilize for myself and for you guys on my channel. And that's this. It demystifies luxury. It's kind of amazing. This is actually really, I'm excited that I'm getting the chance to tell you guys about this. It's kind of a spectacular thing that's happened to me as a result of being on the receiving end of PR. I have like a $50 face oil that doesn't work very well to remove my mascara. I'm using it to shave my legs. I'm like slapping it all over. It's like a luxury, it's a more Pacific, like luxury high-end face oil. And it's worth next to nothing to me. Even though it's being marketed as something that costs $50, to me, it's like, might as well be a bar of Dove soap for what I'm using it for. And that is really good. That's been really good for me. Not just that, but on several occasions. When I've received something for free, it's just been like, oh, you know? And I don't think that that's bad, because I had formerly a very kind of precious and obsessive relationship with luxury packaging. I had this weird conviction that luxury products were made of like luxury ingredients, and that the ingredients were really special and different and expensive. And getting just a few luxury things for free in PR has just completely wiped that idea from my brain. It's not just getting free stuff that has caused this shift. I think I started to really shift my way of seeing these things during my no-buy year. So I've gotten here partly on my own, but getting a lot of luxury things for free, it really takes the specialness out of them. And I really, really needed that. And I feel like if I'm doing my job right, I'm able to kind of pass that disillusionment on to you guys and make it clear that if I really love something, if I really value something, if I literally value it highly, so much so that I feel like the luxury price tag is potentially worth it to me, I'm able to make it clear that I'm valuing it and that I believe one should value it based on its performance and not on its brand label. Because the more free stuff I get, the less those labels mean to me. And I think that that makes me a better beauty guru. So that represents, I guess what I was just trying to explain is a shift in my value system, a shift in my concept of value that has come from getting PR, and that I think is a shift for the better. I am consciously trying hard. And I mean, I don't have to try that hard because I'm not rich, but it's something I think about because I'm receiving free things, to consciously try not to lose sense of the value of an expensive product. I think it's really important to me up here on this platform not to lose sense of the value of a dollar, so to speak. I think that my financial circumstances, the fact that I'm budgeting, the fact that I'm talking about budgeting and being transparent about what I'm allowed to spend, and the fact that I'm, just not making a lot of money in my life, and so it's something I have to be conscientious about. I think all of that's helping me not to lose touch with value. But I think about it all the time. I think about it with relation to my channel, because as a viewer of YouTube, as a viewer who has kind of an inside perspective, because I'm also making videos, I'm becoming increasingly aware that an influencer who has lost touch with the value of expensive things is the perfect marketing tool for brands. If an influencer, and sort of take your pick, I mean, I think there are a number of them out there, and I'm not trying to slander anyone, I'm just trying to raise awareness. I think that we should be talking about these kinds of things. But if there's someone in an influential position on Instagram or on YouTube whose life has been so padded with free makeup and free skincare, free beauty products, free clothes, free stuff, free expensive stuff, that she no longer has to employ critical thinking to decide what's worth it for her to buy, if she no longer has to be smart about how she spends her money, then her content starts to develop a subtle underlying message, which is a message of unaccountability to financial constraints. I think of a beauty guru like Kathleen Lights, for example, who in her defense is wealthy, and she's wealthy because she's worked really hard. So I wouldn't expect her to not behave like a wealthy person, because she is, and it wouldn't make sense for her to get up on YouTube and act like she's not wealthy when she is. So there's that, right? And I'm not trying to be critical of her, but I'm trying to say, let's pay attention to the fact that she's in an unusual situation. She looks so young, and she appears so young and fresh, and she appears to be kind of like just starting out on life's journey. She just has that feeling of youth and freshness and newness. And she exhibits unaccountability to financial constraints on her channel. She talks about having bought a perfume that cost $250. She samples luxury things that she got for free, and she says, you guys, if you have dry skin, you need this in your life. Her content has a subtle underlying message of money being no object. And that's because that's the reality of her life. right? That's partly because she's become wealthy through a lot of hard work, and it's also because she receives so much stuff for free that her life has been padded by all of this stuff, so she doesn't really need to think about money. And I worry when I see unconstrained spending or unaccountability to finances modeled on YouTube as an aspirational quality. Because when someone aspires to be like a person or to have the qualities of a person, they tend to ape those qualities even if they don't really have the situation or the tools that make it okay. It's dangerous to ape the behavior of financial unaccountability when you aren't actually wealthy. And I think that because Kathleen Lights and other beauty gurus like her are aspirational figures to young women and girls, many of whom are teenagers, haven't even gotten to the point in their lives yet where they're having to live on their own, make their own money, etc. She's aspirational. So a lot of young women are watching her and they want to be like her. And what that means is they're not only doing their hair the way she does, buying the lipstick that she buys, wearing the eye makeup the way that she does, they're also going to try to behave the way that she does with regards to stuff and with regards to money. And that means behaving like young women for whom money is no object. And behaving like money is no object, that's what I was doing before my No Buy year, behaving as though all of it is free, not thinking about money, acting like your life is padded in such a way that you don't have to think about money. That brought me to such a dark place. That dragged me down so hard and so far in my late 20s and even into my early 30s. And it hurts me to think of that happening to other younger women out there. And it troubles me to think about the role of PR, the role of free stuff, and the role of beauty gurus in that damage. So there is a dark side to PR, both in my inner life and the way that I'm handling it, and in the beauty community at large, and the way that it has the potential to filter out into the lives of people who watch people on YouTube. I didn't mean to end on such a dark note. All right, I just had to change my camera battery, which means I've definitely been filming for a really long time. The video is almost over, thank God. I didn't mean to end on such a dark note, but I wanted to wax philosophic a little bit about the role of PR in the YouTube beauty sphere. And I'm still learning. I mean, I'm new. I've only been on YouTube a year and a half. I'm a noob. So I'm just starting to think about this stuff. This is just some of my thinking right now. And I'll keep checking back in about all of this as my channel keeps evolving. Going forward, my plan is just to keep an eye on myself. At this point, I feel like the PR that I'm receiving is something that I've worked for. I'm 34 years old. I'm spending about 30 hours a week on this job, this YouTube job. And when you break it all down, I'm being paid way less than minimum wage for the work that I'm doing here on YouTube. So I don't feel bad accepting some stuff in exchange for this work that's similar to some stuff that I might be buying if I were being paid reasonably well for this work. It's not as good as being paid. As Amanda said from Makeup Just for Fun, do you guys watch Makeup Just for Fun? I saw her do a video about, I guess it was like about what it's like to be on YouTube, and she said something I'll never forget, which is, you can't pay your bills with concealer. Truer words were never spoken. It's kind of a subpar form of pay, but I do feel like I've worked for it, and I do feel good about accepting it. But I also consider it my responsibility to keep paying attention to my habits and my finances and my stuff, and keep talking about value on YouTube and being transparent about value and being philosophical about value, so that my channel doesn't become a hotbed of unrealistic aspirational posing, which I don't feel like it's too much in danger of becoming, but I do feel like it's my responsibility to pay attention to that, and that's what I'm trying to do going forward. All right, that is genuinely it. That is it, you guys. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you watched all the way to the end, goodness gracious, this was what they call a true doozy. Thank you. Can't wait to chat with you guys in the comment section down below this video. Let me know what you think. And don't forget to take extra good care of yourself this week so that you can be the most effective version of yourself as you do your work in the world.